So today um, we are going to learn about different staffing transactions, like any changes that we are executing in terms of staffing. So so our today's agenda would be like we are going to take a demo of Org Studio, and then we are going to execute different transactions in Workday. That is, for example, maybe we can hire a trainee or a part-time employee or a contractor, and then can convert that person to employee. We can do different staffing job changes in movement, and we'll also see the termination process. So let's just first start with Org Studio. We'll take we'll learn a little bit about it, what we can do, why it's beneficial, why we should, why, and in comparison to um, other options, why we should consider using Org Studio. So Org Studio, you can say it's a functionality that is used for reorganization. And what's reorganization? So if a lot of, if for example, uh, there are different changes that are happening in an organization, and these changes are not just 1, 2, 3, or 5 transactions. These are bulk of transactions, and we want to execute so many changes. So for example, specifically talking about uh, this COVID period, so a lot of things have changed in organizations. Some organizations change their structure, internal structure. Some organizations chose to make a few workers redundant, or they maybe they combine different jobs, and they took a lot of measures um, to basically sustain in the market. So there were like number of things happened, and so they that's just an example, of course, and that's not the only case. But we are, for any reason, whenever there is a need for reorganization, Org Studio is one of the options through which we can execute those reorganization changes. Before we actually go to Org Studio, so what we are doing by, what are the different ways to reorganize or to execute reorganization in Workday. um, the first and the most easiest option is that we do it through manual staffing changes. So for example, we have any worker, and we want to, for example, transfer him to uh, any other department. Maybe we can do that by transfer, promote, or change job. So that's one way of reorganizing. We are making the changes. Let's say if I want to do it for 100 people, doing it manually will be a cumbersome job for me. The idea is I am actually, for example, transferring this worker uh, to another manager or another supervisory organization. So that's one way of doing it, that I'll go to the change job option. I'll fill in the details here, why I am making these changes, and then um, I'm going to execute it. Again, right now I'm just showing you the process. So let's say um, I am doing this manually. So this is one way of executing that staffing changes, right? And again, I'm going to fill in all these details one by one, and then I am going to execute this process. So that's one way of doing it. Okay, I might have not fill in the complete details. Let's see what else is so compensation information is. We need to fill that up. So now what I have done, I have actually executed a transfer process. That's one way of doing this reorganization. Again, right now I just executed for single worker, but let's say if I want to do it for 100 people or maybe 500 people, it means it's performing this whole step 500 times. So that's one way of doing it. The second way of doing it uh, is through EIB. So what EIB is, in simple words, EIB is actually that's another, I would say that's another format that is used in Workday to to transfer the information from and to Workday. So there are, you can say these are different templates having a certain interface, and these like templates are used to uh, execute different processes in Workday. That's also related to integration that we are going to cover in future sessions. But the we can use EIBs as well, and EIBs are simple, like just the way we have Excel. So these are XML based templates. We can fill in the data in a specific format, and then we can load it in the system. So that's another way of doing it. We are going to talk about EIB probably next week sessions. And then the third way is actually to do it through Org Studio. And just to clarify, EIB is not just used only for reorganization. EIB is actually used for a lot of other purposes as well. We are going to cover that in the session that will be focused on EIB. So coming to Org Studio. So and simply we'll type Org Studio here, and we'll be uh, able to access this. So in order to be able to use Org Studio, of course, we should have like particular security setup, and that is actually you can say a requirement that you should have that set up in your tenant. Only then you will be able to use this. So we are going to, like, we typed Org Studio, and then we are going to create a design that what reorganization we want to do. And of course we'll give certain name and we'll put in certain details when we are creating a design. So for example, let's say I am doing it for let's say HR. That's just for my understanding, and I am giving it a name to the Org Studio design that I'm creating right now. uh, of course there will be effective date, that from which date I want it to be effective, and then I want to give a starting point, and starting point is again a supervisory organization. That I am The idea is basically that I am defining that this is the organization in which I plan to do reorganization. So let's say if I type Logan's name, and so there are a lot of supervisory organization. So let's say let's let's do it for learning and development. Again, learning and development is the name of supervisory organization, and now I am going to create a design for this specific organization, which means that my reorganization will start from this supervisory organization. If it has more like subordinate organization, of course that will also be part of this design. So let's just create it. So what's the, I would say, the biggest benefit of Org Studio is that you don't have to like um, type and click on different options. It just allow you to create or move different people and different supervisory organization just by dragging and dropping. So let's say if I want to this is my starting point, and if I want to, for example, create a subordinate organization. So let's say I created LND South, for example, South region, let's say. So I did that. And you see there is a new supervisory organization. And now, for example, I want to maybe edit it. I can do that. I want to roll um, I want to assign a role to a particular manager. Maybe I want to add a worker to this organization. I may also add a subordinate organization within this LND South region organization. Um, if I want to add multiple, I would use this. If I want to add a single, I can also create a position using here. And let's say if I am saying that this training one should be under this uh, supervisory organization, so I can create different position, I can assign different roles, and I can actually edit that like I can edit that supervisory organization just by dragging and dropping. I don't need to go to each and every like individual record. I would simply come here and just do it by dragging and dropping. So this is how we can do that, and this will actually define the hierarchy. Again, right now I think there is no one here, there are just two open positions, but that's just a way to do the reorganization. Again, that's something um, like we can, and of course we cannot do each and everything in Org Studio, but if we need to do, like for example, um, create what we are doing, so we are going to create and collaborate organization design, then we test different structures. So I created one structure and then I thought, no, that's not the right one, so I can test it, I can change it. And then I also like need to ensure that I have approvals on those business processes. The idea is whenever we need to perform mass actions or transactions, we would use Workday. But uh, it's not like if, like we can do each and everything in Org Studio. We can perform certain options but not all. So there are certain, you can say there are certain limitations also. We can assign the role, we can assign the superior, as we just saw. We can close position, we can create position, we can create subordinate, we can move workers. But for something like, let's say, compensation change, or maybe changing an employee type or other BP transactions, we will have to use our regular process. So this is this report or this Org Studio design, this is targeted for specific things in Workday, but the idea is that mass actions can be executed very quickly instead of doing it one by one. Even through EIB, of course, you would need like whole record in a specific format, and then you will be able to do it. So that's this is how we can use this thing. And if we want to take a look that how uh, because it's again there is no there is no one, no person is, so there is no person right now there, but we can always take a look of whatever we are designing in an Excel format. Let's see if it would allow us to export in Excel. Again, this is just showing the structure that we created, but generally we would still be able to see it in a worksheet format. Again, the idea is that if we want to perform mass action, again, right, over here we just executed one as an example, but if we want to do a lot of reorganization changes, we can like drag and drop, and just by few clicks we will be able to execute those changes. So that's about Workday Studio. There are some additional options as well. So for example, the transfer process that we executed just before this. So every a usual process is that you have to go to this change job task and then you will execute that. But let's say if I have this option activated in my user, I have the security access, I can also perform that same thing using move worker option, move worker supervisory. Again, I need to have that access. Generally users won't have this, so we have to get it activated. We need to ensure that it's activated, and then we'll be able to do it. What it will do, uh, it will actually bypass the security and would allow us to simply transfer the worker to from one supervisory organization to another supervisory organization. Let's say if I want to transfer this person to learning and development, I'll simply do it. So it will not go to the manager, and I can simply do it. Again, this is something which is not a common practice, and we generally organization prefer not to give this access even to all their HR partners or all their administrative users, because that may cause disruption in the overall processes. The reason is because if we are going to execute the transfer through this process, our record might, like, it might not be reflected the same way we would want in our reports. So but yes, if for example we are doing like changes, maybe a correction, or maybe like when we are we know that it's not going to impact, and if I am an admin user and if I want to do it, I'm a super user, then I can do that. But that option is available, and the idea to explain here was that you should know that that this option actually exists in the system, but it would only be available if it's allowed. So that's, again, that's, we are doing that same thing following another way. So that's one way of doing that as well. So now we are going to see how we can convert employees, how we can convert different employees. So let's just talk a little bit about contractor or contingent workers, and then we'll see how we can convert maybe a contractor to an employee, and what will be the process. So uh, contracting contingent worker, temporary workers are referred to as contractors or contingent workers. And how we can differentiate it in the system, we'll always see this C notation uh, at the at the end of like right after the contractor's name, and that would tell us that this person is a contractor. So that's how we differentiate between employees and contractors. And why we are, and generally if in reports when we use the term workers, that includes employees as well as contractors. But if we and if we use word employees, it means we are actually like not counting contingent workers. So the way to find out, or if we just want to know by looking at the name whether that worker is a contractor or an employee, this C notation will actually tell us. So C is for contractor, and it will tell us that this person is a contractor. Payment for a contractor is not sent to payroll through the payroll interface. Workers, so workers by employee or contingent worker report. We'll also take a look of the report quickly. It allows you to view one or more of contingent worker, one or more of the employee types, or a combination of these populations. So there are I mentioned this in previous sessions as well. So there are Workday delivered reports. So we'll take a look that how we can um, like see that. And just to explain, um, generally contractors, there are how these are different from employees. Generally, again, it depends on organization specific policies as well, but sometimes contractors are associated with organization for a short or a fixed term. They are sometimes not getting some of the employment benefits that employees are getting. So it again, it depends, and even in different countries these terms are used differently. So uh, these are like we hire both kind of workers in the system, contractors as well as employees. So we can also convert, we can also use the convert to employee task uh, to to convert one employee to a contractor. How we can do it? We can either end the contract and hire that person as an employee, or we can use the convert to employee task and do that. um, Again, the position that the contingent worker needs has to be created just like a hiring a regular employee. So let's just do this activity. Contract a contingent worker. uh, we'll create a contingent worker position. Get it approved, then we'll create a requisition, and then we'll hire a contract worker. And then we'll also see the conversion process. So let's just we are going to follow this this whole process. We are going to do both activities, and that would actually allow you to witness the process even if you are not uh, doing it yourself. Okay, contract contingent worker, as we saw here, contract a contingent worker. Now we need to create uh, contingent worker position. So again, this is once we will be done with creating a position, then we'll use this task. So let's just first create a contractor. So for example, this she is a manager of this employee benefit supervisory, and let's say um, I want to I want to add or hire a contractor uh, under this individual. So Maria, I'm going to create, I'm going to hire a contractor under this person. So let's say create, let's first, so it's employee benefits. Okay. Create position. Be, there could be another name. So for now, just because we are just learning the process. So let's just create one in Global Support Canada. That's the name of our supervisory organization. Position request, new project, global support contractor. Let's say I'm creating 2 positions. My availability date is today's earliest hire date is today's. I need to create a job family, choose a job family maybe, and then support. So there was some job description summary added, so it has all automatically pulled that. If there was any further detail as well, it would have also picked that up. Over here we'll let's see, we are saying Canada, not here, then Baltimore, for example, full time. Over here I'll select the workers. Over here I am selecting it contingent worker. So that's going to be full time, but again we are hiring a contractor. So I'm just waiting for it. Let me fill in the details again. I hope it goes by. If I need to add any specific skill, I can add it from here as well. For example, communication, I want to add, let's say, maybe it's a networking thing. So IT support by category. Okay, let's just stick to it. So that's the process to create a position, and then I'm not sure if this position is actually created because it's not showing the button. Let me. So probably the position that we just tried to create was not created. Let's just quickly try once again, and then let's just see if we can create a position one. Let's try one more time. Let's see if the position is create new pre-hire. Let's see if it would accept that. So we are basically supposed to add at least one contact information. It can either be an address, a telephone number, or uh, an email. So let's just remove it. And so if the position was not created, it means because we are trying to hire a contingent worker. So let's just quickly try and create position one more time. I don't know, it's like it got hanged. Otherwise, it just the submit button should should create the position. Let's just try again. Let's create in this one. So we have created this. Let's just try. So we have created this contract contingent worker position, and now we are going to let's see if it's searching that one. Yes, it's so pre-hire. I think I mentioned this earlier as well. Pre-hire is generally a profile that is already available in the system because we just created that. So that's why it's showing this in the system. Um, we'll we either it can be created by any user, or it can be a prior employee. So for example, someone was working with the company, he or she left, but his or her profile is available in the system and he or she is actually rejoining the company, so that whenever someone will leave, it would automatically be available in a his or her profile will be available as a pre-hire, until and unless we mark it at the time of termination that we do not want this person to be eligible for rehiring in the company. Otherwise, as a default setting, it would add in a pre-hire. So let's say we are starting the contract with this individual. We are going to put a start date, contingent worker type. So let's say we are doing contractor. What's the reason why we are hiring this? Let's say there was a new position. Let's see if there is anything. So contracts manager, or so let's say chief training officer. Again, I'm just quickly walking you through the process, but these options would depend on the specific structure that organization has. And once you basically work for like a specific organization, you understand how the jobs are classified, how the job profiles are created, what they actually mean by contractor, what they actually mean by consultant, what their usual contractual period. So these are all the SOPs that all companies are maintaining as per their requirement. So let's say if I'm hiring this person from 25th of September, and let's say it's a 3-month contract, and I'm putting here so October, November, and December. So 25th December is the uh, like contract end date. If there is any supplier through which we are hiring this contractor, we can select that as well. We can select what the payment terms are. We can also select what the pay rate is, what's the currency, how frequent we are going to pay it, monthly, quarterly. We can even hire on an hourly basis. Again, depending on what the practices of that organization is, we can have these different options. So it has, because we picked the position, so it has automatically populated the title here. If for any reason we want to give a different title, we can change it here. And then over here we are defining what will be the working hours, and all those details available. uh, Again, in a regular scenario, it's always best to uh, enter maximum um, fields, because that allows us later on to have like all that information available, and we can always pull that information in form of reporting. So we have, for now, just for the sake of understanding the process, I have uh, like entered the minimum information just to walk you through the process. Now this person is not now hired as, so you see we have this person here, so he's a contractor, and he or she is actually hired in Wealth of Knowledge Supervisory Organization, and the location is Atlanta. Now going back to our original content, and let's see. So we created a position, we approve it, we created a requisition, and then we hire a contract worker. Now let's say if we want to convert this contractor to a full-time employee or a regular employee. So one option is that I end the contract and hire as an employee, or and that the process would be exactly the same that we did just now. All we need to do is to create a job requisition for an employee, and this the other thing that we can do is to convert. We can use convert to employee task. So let's just, so this is convert to employee task, and I can convert this person to an employee. So convert contingent worker to employee. Okay. What this the other option could be, I would type the name of this person. This profile, his or her profile will open up, and if I want to end the contract, that's one option, or I want to convert to employee, I can use any of these options and run the process. Let's say if I want to end the contractor like contract, then I would like enter the reason here that why I am ending the contract. If it's involuntary, maybe there must be something um, not conducive, or something uh, that was not expected, or it can be like any other reason. So whatever the reason would be, we would pick the reason and then run the process. Let's say contract ended. If I want to close the position, I would do that. And last day of work, if there is any like or any secondary reasons, I can add those as well. And then regrettable. So regrettable, whenever we are selecting this, it means if it's regrettable, it means that the company would not want this person to join again. So again, this option is actually uh, telling that information and recording that information in the system for future reference. So we are going to submit it, and then the contract is ended. So it has now gone to the manager, the person who was assigned as a manager. So that's one way of doing it. The other way, as I mentioned, we can simply convert it to an employee. So this is the whole process to do that. Again, as I mentioned, it all depends that what sort of policies organization has and how that organization would like to proceed with that process. So we have done that. Now the other option is, again, now I'll create a full-time position, and then I'll hire this person as an employee. So you remember I mentioned in the previous sessions that whatever activity we'll perform, the base of Workday supervisory organization. So we should know that in which supervisory organization we want to hire up, or we want to create a new position of a contractor. So let's say let's just try in the same supervisory organization. So wealth of knowledge is the name of that supervisory organization, and now we want to create a position. There are multiple ways of performing any task here. One option is that we go and create a position, uh, like create that requisition from here. And the other option is that I go to position create position task. Here I will have to select the name of supervisory organization. It's already selected, so I'm just going to click OK. And now over here I'm going to let's just create another position. Is it is it going to be a part-time or full-time? Let's just try for part-time this time. Let's try for contingent worker. And if I want to select worker subtype, so I can do that as well. I'm selecting contractor and now submit it. For some reason, this is actually getting stuck here. That's why I did it again. So this screen, I don't know why, but this screen is getting stuck. Generally, you can do that through create position. Again, in an ideal scenario, this is this is over here will be done, and the position should be created. But let's say if it's not uh, if it's not allowing us to complete the process, let's just do another way. So wealth of knowledge and create job rec, create new position, contingent. Okay. Now over here, we'll fill all that information. New position. Let's see, a new position, additional. If we are hiring as a replacement of any worker, then we can select that as well. It will actually populate the name of that person here. Our target hire date is today's. We can give it generally for, of course, for future as well. If we have a specific end date, then we can uh, enter end date as well. So it has populated the details automatically because it was added in this, it was available in the system. Now we are going to put the details again. It's contractor, it's part-time, it's, if we are to add like if we are to reduce these hours, we can do that. Over here we are adding part-time, so 38 doesn't look okay, so let's do 38 and full-time. Now here we are going to, it has automatically populated the details from the existing position, but if we want to change anything, we can just click on this pencil button and change that. Once we are done, we'll just click uh, on the main screen and it will be okay. So it's just for available for our review, that we just need to quickly check. Of course, if we have not posted the similar kind of position in the past, then we won't see these details and we'll have to fill in all these details by ourselves. Then again, or like this is all like organization name, cost center, headquarter, everything is shown here. If we want to add any document, we can do that as well. uh, Cost information, if we are to add like what will be the pay rate, what in which currency we are going to pay. For example, let's say USD. Let's say our pay rate is, for example, pay rate is 45 and hourly, for example. So we are going to put that information, and this is the final screen where we'll see all that information. So that's for our review. I hope I have not missed anything. So we have created this position, and now we are going to hire a person on this, against this requisition that we have just created. So that's the process to create. And again, we can although I executed and contract task, but it's in approval phase right now. So I can also show you that convert to employee from the same user. So you see, when I try to initiate that, so it's telling me that there is already a process running. So this was already running. So I have two options: either I like complete this process, or maybe I can cancel it and then convert that person to an employee. So let me cancel that. And over here I am writing converting to employee. I'll submit it. So I have cancelled that previous previous event. Job change, convert to employee. So probably there must be some restrictions defined on in the supervisory organization. That's why it's not allowing me to execute the process. Let's just quickly. And again, this is a simple step. It would just take you, and it will allow you to change, like convert that contingent worker to employee. So we can do that. And again, from here, since we are talking about it, so we can also launch its onboarding from here. So that's a general process to do that. Again, the idea is that if you will just understand that which tasks you need to access to execute the process, that is important. And once you start doing that, you will understand. So create position, then get it approved, create job requisition, hire, and and we are done there. Depending on, of course, depending on the requirement, we are going to put there that if we are to hire an employee or hire a contractor, and then we'll define all the details accordingly. So that's the overall process. Now, what is staffing movement? Staffing movement. So we can promote someone, we can change the position, we can make changes to the data, or maybe we can change location of a particular person. And based on your BP, which means based on your business process, there can be other steps like reviewing, editing, and approving the staffing movement. So we are going to take a look of this one as well, and it's the same way I executed the change, the transfer process. So we are going to. I have already shown you that, but I'll show you another step. So let's say Maria and office manager, and if, for example, I am uh, I am going to go on the same option, and over here I'll select that why I am making this change. So in the earlier process, uh, I actually selected this transfer option, but let's say I am actually doing promotion. So I am going to select the promotion option and start the process. And then over here I'm going to put all the details. Let's say I'm making it, for example, job change and promotion. Okay, so 1st October is the effective date. Promotion. um, I am not changing the manager details, and let's start the process. So let's change the business title. And for example, we are making it senior office manager. Location, there is no change. No change in this information as well. No attachment, no organization change. Let's say if I am promoting, so for example, I am changing the salary of this person. So from here we can also even decide that we don't want that person to be able to see it right away. So we can do that as well. If we want to, for example, we made her senior manager, and if, for example, there might be a different plan that I need to select, I can uh, change that as well. Maybe I need to make a change to this, I can do that as well. I'll add that information accordingly based on the compensation plan that I am selecting for her. And let's say, let's do this one. And let's say, although I have entered like more than the salary range, but it will just give me alert if I want to add any other commission, any other benefit, any other perk that she's now eligible to get. I can do that as well, and then I'll submit it. So the alert must be probably of compensation because I added a higher value than what was defined in the range. So that's basically the process. Now I have executed the promotion process and it has gone to the manager, because manager would need to review that and provide the approval, and then it will go through. And just to make you understand the process, we also need to see that how these different steps are actually happening. So there is a certain business process defined at backend, and based on that business process, all these steps are actually uh, happening. Like for example, once we click on the like once we executed the promotion business process or promotion step, then based on the step or the task that is defined in the process, we are like it's going to the next step and the next step. So you see, we did this, like we executed the first step and then it went to the manager. This is right now showing the transfer, but we have actually executed the promotion step. So let's see if there is a, so there can be like this is primarily related to onboarding, but that job change is actually telling us that how that process will flow. And then based on that, one after another, if we have defined, for example, 3 tasks in the process, so three tasks will get completed, and then at the end that process will be completed. So that's the way to actually execute that whole process. So then there is another option in the system which is about swapping the position. Generally, it does not. I I mean, I have not at least experienced anything like that, like this, but that's an option that is available in the system. That if, for example, we need to swap two workers, so there is a worker A and then there is a worker B, and that actually we are swapping them. So this person will take the job of this one and vice versa. So we can actually do that as well using the swap request swap process. So that's another way, but again, that's very rare. But yes, in instances where we are, for example, moving one person or moving different people between the locations, so one person going from one location to another and vice versa, so we can like use this process. So that option is also available in the system. So swap position BP initiates the change job BP, which in turn initiate the change organization. So let's just first look for if there is any specific business process defined for swap. So you see there is a swap positions business process already. Maybe someone has just created it to try, but um, let's see if what's there. So this is a business this is a business process defined for swap position. So it's the change job thing, but it's a slightly different because it's actually activating two workers in parallel, like we are actually executing two processes in parallel. So over here we can see this definition is invoked when the swap position task is executed. The definition should not be modified without first referring to the documentation. Okay, so that's just general notes. So a business process was initiated by a request transfer task, uh, current manager, then receiving manager, then it will go to change organization assignment because we are actually changing the organization assignment of the two workers. And then at the end, it will go to HR administrator. So again, the the most important thing in this whole, I would say, to understand all these things in Workday, it's to understand its concept and what's happening at the back end. So all these transactions that we are executing or have executed so far, there is a process running behind, and that process was actually configured by that specific organization, that how that organization would want a certain process to be executed, who will be the stakeholder in that process, and who will be the approving authority in those processes. And that's and that's in each and everything. Even the org studio thing that we talked about, we would always need to know that how we want to do it, like why we are restructuring it, who needs to be involved, when these changes would be implemented. And so we need to understand the concept, the logic behind how all these things are happening. So it's, if we just see from a layman perspective, so one person working in a particular team, particular supervisory organization or department, and then if that person is getting transferred to another organization, it's a simple thing to understand that there's a process running. It's just the same way that if you are standing at a certain place, and you are, for example, you are at your home, and then from there you are going to office, let's say. So there are different things that you are doing between that journey. So it's the same thing, it's the same process to understand in in this business processes as well, that what are the steps that are being performed from for doing that. So it's just one another type of uh, transaction to swap workers. So switch primary job business process allows you to change the primary job designation for workers with multiple jobs. It is important to indicate a primary job to identify the main manager and report accurately. This business process gives you the flexibility to change a worker's primary job due to a job change, a new additional job, or the end of current primary job. Accessible from worker related action, job change, switch primary job. Let's just quickly take a look. So actions, we worker actions, and what was the step? Uh, Job change, switch primary jobs. Probably it's not uh,
activated here. It's not activated here. Again, this is also depend how we have configured it. So, but generally speaking, we can do it from here from the job change option. Then we have termination process. Let's just try this one as well. I'm just trying to like do more hands-on instead of just the theory part, that even if you are not able to like do it by yourself, but at least you can witness the process and understand how we can do these things. So while terminating the employee, I need to fill in certain information. um, what's the primary reason for that specific person to leave the job? Again, that same voluntary, involuntary, um, maybe unsatisfactory, poor job performance, let's say. I can even just leave it as is. What's the notice period? If I'm, for example, I want this person to serve my standard notice period, whatever that is. Let's say if I am putting today's date, again, notice it's the notice period that I am saying. Okay, so it's 30 days notice period. It's automatically uh, populated here. That termination date is going to be 25th of October, because I am executing it on eligible for rehire. No, because I have selected the reason there, regrettable. If I say no over here as well, and then I have submitted the process. Now it has uh, gone to the manager. So the manager will actually review the next step. Again, the in the termination process, the next step that it will go to the manager. So it has now gone to the manager, and she will now perform the next action before the termination process is completed. So that's about the termination thing. And same thing, that you can indicate that if that worker is not eligible to rehire, and that's why I selected there no. uh, then we have, you can indicate termination was regrettable and use that information for turnover analysis. Again, generally, and this line, what does this line actually mean? So uh, whenever, and just for the sake of explaining, what is turnover? So turnover analysis, so all companies at a periodically, generally depending on what the business is, but generally companies do their analysis on a quarterly or annually, or annual basis. They run the analysis of turnover, like how many people actually left in that particular period, what were the reasons of leaving them. So that's what we call turnover analysis. And then in that turnover analysis, so for example, let's say in my organization, let's say as an example, I say that or during a quarter 10 people left. Now out of those 10 people, let's say I term like as an employer, I terminated two of them because they were not meeting the expectation. They were performance issues or maybe any other issues, so I actually laid them off. So, and now I am saying that I'm selecting no in regrettable or uh, for rehiring. So it means that I was not happy with them, and I actually let them go. So that, for example, that should not impact my turnover numbers. Why? Because let's say I am more interested in knowing people whom I did not want to leave the organization, but they actually left, and someone that I as an employer letting go. So it's okay, and I am not concerned about those people because uh, they were not meeting the performance expectation. So we can use this information on various fronts. So it's important that we are entering the information in the system correctly. Then we can also configure different questionnaire with the termination BP to capture information such as exit interview. So let's say, and generally it happens in case of voluntary termination where someone is actually leaving. So as soon as we terminate or we execute the termination process, uh, a questionnaire can be configured that will go to employee's Workday inbox, and he or she would uh, fill in the details that why he or she is leaving, and again that information can be helpful for me as an employer. Notice periods can be configured and used in the termination process that we just enter the information. There can be documents that can be attached during the termination process. So what could be the document? For example, I want to, let's say, um, I can attach a simple experience letter template. Of course, it will be in electronic form, but I can attach that as well. It depends. That's an option as well. I can also attach some additional documents as well. That can be, for example, let's say resignation acceptance, for example. Initiating termination. So use terminate employee task or worker related. So there are two ways to execute that. There was one way that we just executed, which was this. The other option could be that I would just go to like over here and I type terminate employee, and from here I will select the name of that person and then I will execute. So again, the same process will get triggered, but these are there's two ways of doing the same thing. Enable the submit resignation BP to allow an employee to initiate their own termination. So we can also allow employees to submit their resignation through system. We'll have to configure a business process. Let's see if that is available in the system. So there is one already configured. So again, that's an example. We can also have a resignation process in the system. Severance functionality, again, this is also depend each and everything. It's the benefit of Workday is that it's a highly configurable system, and we can configure it based on our own specific requirements. Then we have I've already executed this, but just for the sake of just going through quickly to understand it. So reasons for both terminate employee and contingent worker contract BP are set in maintain termination categories. Reasons can be set as involuntary, voluntary, other, retirement, manager reasons. The reason configured in maintain termination categories are used across your organization. There may be a need to have a specific reason to country or region. Use maintain local termination reasons. So the reason that we were able to see there, let's say maintain. Now over here we can define the reason if we have any specific reason. uh, if you want to define any specific reason over here, so we can like add that reason. Let's say internal trans should be not be a termination reason, but you can say that redundant, like job got redundant and I want to uh, add it. I can uh, add my own reasons. So there are some reasons already defined, and then there are some that I can add on at my own as well. Then severance worksheet BP contains review and sandbag and approval steps. Severance worksheet process should be completed before initiating the terminate employee BP. Uh, let's just finally take a look of. Let's see if there is anything. So that's severance worksheet configured, or as well a business process is configured. There are these two steps. So uh, that severance BP can be activated. Again, what uh, the idea is that if, again, I think I mentioned in the last session as well, that sometimes due to one business process, um, other business process can also be triggered. And for severance, we actually need that what pay benefits or what employee will be entitled to, and if we are to specify few things, and if we have, for example, payroll integrated, so this information can actually flow from Workday to payroll using the details, again, depending on how we have defined this whole process. uh, Again, automatic Workday account termination. Let's just, so whether it's about creation of a Workday account or termination, it actually depends on if we have added that step in the process. So if, let's say, we see the termination process, business process, so there might be a step um, to deactivate Workday account. No, let's see if it, I think I saw it in one of the processes. So we can also add a step or a task over here that uh, as soon as, so terminate user account. So as soon as the, like, let's say this process is completed, the account can get terminated. We can also make that after the last day of employee, automatically it gets terminated. So again, because it's a subscription based model, so each and every active worker that we have in Workday environment, there is a cost that is being charged to the company. So we also have to make sure that if there are users or if there are people who are not part of the company, so their process is timely executed, because it's going to impact company's cost. So it's really important that we are doing all these processes in a timely manner. um, Workday account termination, there is just one last thing, and then we'll end today's session. So let's say there is an employee, for example, this one, and by the way, this option will be, can be used for multiple things: security profile, added Workday account. So whenever, and that's really a common thing, that whenever we want to um, edit an employee's Workday password, this is the option from which we can do it. If I, being an employee, if I want to do it myself, I can do from a different option. But if I, being an HR partner, is doing it for any other user, then I'll do it from here. The profile, added Workday account. I know, I think they are not um, they are not allowing to do it, but probably next class I can take a screenshot from another tenant, and I can show you that how it would look. Okay, so it's done. Okay, so this is how it looks like, for example, if I want to change the password of this user, I can set it randomly. And if I want to, for example, generate a random password, if I'm going to click on this one, then the user will get a random password set up, and the user will receive an email. Now when we talk about the link of this process to termination process, so we can actually define an expiration date here as well. So like it can get expire, and it will the user will not be able to access it. So that's the information. Again, we can also in the business process define that this get automatically deactivated, the account can automatically get deactivated. So this is how it's linked. So that's why it's saying that the termination BP can include the automatic disabling of a Workday account by including the terminate user account step in the BP that we just saw. Use term date or last day worked. So we can define that we want that Workday account to be deactivated on the last day. So that's about the whole process, and these are the different transactions that we learned today that we can execute in the system.